What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. Today we've got a highly requested video based off the defensive mentality. It is the ultimate counter-attacking tactic. It scored over 210 goals and won the quadruple at its best. Be sure to absolutely smash that like button, subscribe, but let's get into the tactic breakdown. But I suppose before that tactic breakdown, I better actually show you what the results were. So at its best, this is by far the strongest team, don't worry. With Real Madrid, we come out and we put on, one of the best displays I think I've ever seen in my life. The Spanish Super Cup, a 1-0 win in extra time over Barcelona, trophy number 1. The Spanish Cup, we're going to blitz Girona in a 3-0 final, trophy number 2. The Champions League, we win against RB Leipzig. As you can see by the yellow text, that was against ourselves. So unfortunately, it was a bit unfair on RB Leipzig testing because we could have potentially won them the Champions League, but even that's quite a good indicator because you can see how much of a fight that Leipzig team put up with the tactic against this very strong Madrid team. The Spanish First Division as well is looking really, really attractive. The win rate percentage on that, I believe, is what, around 96, 97%. Absolutely incredible. Only losing one game against Alaves, drawing one game against Atletico Madrid. Joselu, 32 goals, Vinicius with 27. Average rating, first, second and third. Assist-wise, Alaba, Rodrigo and Carvajal maintain the top 3. Courtois with the most clean sheets. We were absolutely incredible. Most points per game at 2.87. The most goals at 1 off 150. Which, by the way, I will say, 210 goals as a squad across all competitions. Absolutely remarkable. Fewest shots against, the most shots for, the most dribbles, the fewest conceded and the most clean sheets. The only thing we're not going to have is possession because we are on that defensive mentality and we are very counter-attacking inspired. But genuinely, so much fun playing with a team like this who have got lethal players to hit on the counter. Data hub-wise, 3.92. 3.92 goals per game, 0.45 conceded, over 20 shots a game, an 87% pass completion. The tackle win ratio quite high considering it is quite an in-there counter-attacking tactic, so it's nice to see that. Genuinely, we're doing everything to such a high level, it's crazy. And we're going to watch the Spanish Cup final over the Champions League because obviously it was against ourselves, but as you can see against Girona, we got off to an absolute flyer of a start there from Joselu inside of 27 minutes. We go again now with Mendy just after half-time. Little link up with Jude, back into Jude Bellingham. He's going to go alone and do what Jude does best, impress everyone. One more goal now. Alaba going to put a great set piece back stick into Rudiger. We'll take it. Next is going to be West Ham. They were actually one of the best counter-attacking teams in Europe. So, believe it or not, it might have been last season, they were actually the best. They were absolutely ridiculous. And I thought, do you know what? They've got some very exciting players on their break, like a Jarrod Bowen. And we have come out and actually won the Premier League, which we are going to talk about in a second. But we also do win the Carabao Cup in 4-2 fashion over Manchester City in the final. Not as good in Europe. And the FA Cup, unfortunately, Man City did unfold us. But overall, this is the big talking point. The Premier League win with 6 losses. I'm not going to hide that fact. You can see the results there. Other teams did slip up as well, and we just about edged it. And do you know what? We're not going to be in the top goal scorers or assists, meaning a lot of the games were close, but it just goes to show how good this tactic actually is. To take a team like West Ham and turn them into Premier League champions with 0 signings is absolutely crazy. And as you can see, a big part of this is by the goals being scored, outscoring Tottenham, City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Villa, and Manchester United, having more shots than them, the most clean sheets. Obviously, we're not going to be in the possession. We're not even going to be in the dribbles being made. But because we are simply scoring goal upon goal, we are getting the job done every single time. Now, the data hub, we are going to have a little browse that is going to be looking at 2.53 goals a game. I'll happily take that. 0.68 conceded, so not far. We are a little bit, not too far off scoring over 2 to what we are going to be conceding. Over 16 shots a game, a fantastic pass completion, and a really good tackle win ratio as well. That is a really impressive result. Quite an exciting game now for West Ham. It is going to be Antonio coming in this game, who does pick up a hat-trick. From this point onwards, he absolutely carried. Kudos through to Antonio, a touch and a drive, post and in to make it 2-0. He goes again here. Very good play from Phillips in the midfield. Alvarez out wide into Johnson. He's going to cut out, cut in, do everything into Antonio again, who is not going to be out-jumped in the air. Absolute machine, as it is now going to be Zuma into Alvarez in midfield, driving at everyone over the top into Antonio. Pick that one out the back. And lastly, a team close to my heart, that is going to be RB Leipzig. I absolutely love them. And we again had a fantastic German season here. Runners up in the Champions League, we did play ourselves, so a little bit unfair. We did do the German treble, though. The German Super Cup, we are going to win against Bayern in 2-1 fashion. The DFB Pokal, we are going to win against Dortmund in 1-0 fashion. A couple of close games there. And the Bundesliga, The Bundesliga was special. As you can see, only losing 2 games, Bayern losing 8 games, by the way. We only lost 2 games there against Leverkusen, shock, and, of course, Stuttgart. who finished in 3rd place. But overall, it was really the Sesko show. 52 goals for Sesko in the league. 1st, 2nd, and 3rd when it comes to the average rating. That is Sesko, Klosterman, and Dani Olmo. Dani Olmo out-assisting everybody in the league, and Galashi picking up the most clean sheets. Team stat-wise, it is going to be an RB Leipzig sweep. Most points per game, most goals, outscore and Bayern for fun. Most shots, the fewest shots against. Like I said, we're not expecting to have possession. As you can see, we're down there in 8th. The fewest conceded, and the most clean sheets. But everything this tactic's meant to be doing, so defending well, having shots at goal, and scoring goals, we are outranking everyone. And going over to the data hub, it is going to be just over 3 goals a game at 3.06, only 0.32 conceded, just over 19 shots a game, maintaining quite a good pass completion, to be honest with you, and a tackle win ratio a little bit lower, but it didn't really affect us at all, because at the end of the day, we got the job done. A German treble is not to be sniffed at. Watch one of the league games, because the cup finals were really, really boring, to be honest, but we got the job done here against Hoffenheim in a 5-0 away win, a great ball and a great header there, and we are going to go again from a set piece, round into the box, into Sesko, into the bottom left-hand corner. We love to be seeing that, as it is now going to be round down the left-hand side, absolutely blitzing his way for everyone. Sesko back stick, flicks it back into the middle, into a Pender, making it look so easy, it is incredible. Dani Olmo now with a set piece of his own into Sesko, and at this point, Hoffenheim may as well have called it a day, because we are absolutely cooking. Sesko again with the ball, Olmo into the right-hand side, back into the middle. Why didn't the keeper come? I don't know. This tactic also does perform on the console and the mobile as well. As you can see, absolutely dominating the actual Spanish league quite convincingly over Barcelona, Madrid, and Villarreal. We also turned up in the Spanish Cup against Mallorca in a 2-0 win. Not a really challenging final, but we'll take it. And go on then, we'll also lift the Spanish Super Cup against Barcelona in 2-1 fashion. But of course, over to your favourite part of the video, the tactic breakdown. If you are enjoying, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe if you are enjoying the content so far this year. I also do want to say, if you want to join the other 3,400 people, that is right, over 3,000 people, you can come over and join the Patreon in the description, where you get all 3 of these tactics. You're also going to get the tactics early, the mobile and the console tactic. You get priority in the tactic requests and the rebuild requests. You get the rebuild files. You get access to the giveaway, which at the moment is over £250 potentially worth of prizes. So there's a lot going on, and you can find all of this in the description on the Patreon page or on the screen. Let's go over and talk about the ultimate counter. So it is going to be inspired off that 4-2-4, a very deep 4-2-4, and as requested, it is going to have a defensive mentality. Now, we are going to kick things off with the sweeper keeper, who is going to be very, very basic. He is a sweeper keeper, but he's going to be told to defend and do nothing crazy. The fullbacks play such an influential role in this system, hence the instruction. So a fullback on attack, on more direct passes, take more risks, stay wider, and tackle harder. That's going to be matched for the left back as well. Very important you have these instructions on, because they will pick up so many assists. Is absolutely unreal. Going over to the 2 in the midfield, the 2 at the back, the ball playing defender is going to be on tackle harder, on the left and also the right hand side. Again, no shock to the system, because we are playing a defensive mentality. A lot of these players are going to have tackle harder on to really get them into the game and put in the challenge, because I don't want them sitting off and being too negative. Going up the field, we are going to have a DM who is going to be on tackle harder, partnered with a ball and midfield player. Of course, when you have him on support, he's naturally going to have tackle harder on. Now, I will say, usually I say to you, boys and girls, you can obviously change player roles if you want to. So far, if you can, I would highly advise not changing anything, because these 2 especially need to protect the back 4, because then wing backs are very, very attacking. So if you can, have them like this. The inside forward on the right and the left are going to be exactly the same. Both inside forwards on support, on sit narrower, and of course tackle harder. And the 2 up top are going to be the advanced forward on the left on tackle harder, and on the right exactly the same. Again, if you've got really good strikers, and I mean really good strikers, you can have shoot more often on, but please be aware that sometimes it doesn't mean you've got to score more goals all the time. It simply means you're going to have more shots from them, which usually, if you've got a good finisher, will result in more goals, but there is no guarantee. It's actually based off a defensive custom tiki-taka, just to clarify that. We're going to go all the way down to narrow. The next instruction is going to be pass into space, overlap left, overlap right, focus down the right and the left-hand side, which is why you saw in the highlights a lot of width being deployed in this system. We are not going to play out from the back, because it's going to be a little bit more direct from that. We're going to go all the way down to shorter. It will say slightly shorter for you. It's because I'm on the clean slate to show you, boys and girls. The tempo is going to be all the way up to higher. We're going to run at defense and go to be more expressive, and we're going to have this on to low crosses. So it is going to be heavily counter-attacking, hence the title. And you probably could bet a bet on what you were going to expect to see: counter press, counter, distribute quickly, and take short goal kicks. I'm not going to say exactly where to play the ball to, because I want the keeper to get the ball moving quickly, so whether he goes to the flanks or the playmaker, whoever it goes to, get the ball moving sensibly but quickly. And lastly, out of possession, we are going to instantly whack this high press up. We're going to go with the much higher defensive line, step up more, get stuck in, prevent short goalkeeper distribution. We have literally got 2 strikers up there. It'd be crazy not to have this on, and we're going to have this set to much more often. It's intense, it's aggressive, but it gets the job done. Now for a tactic for when you're trying to obviously go and score more goals, you're a goal behind, or maybe you're drawing 0-0 and you want to get the winner. So the goalkeeper does remain the same. The fullback on the right and the left are also going to remain exactly the same, as do both of the centre-backs, apart from one little change I nearly forgot. We did actually add dribble more on. Now, this is very iffy because I wasn't going to include this in the video because it can lead to mistakes, but I will say, if you've got players that are comfortable on the ball, then do have this on. If you haven't, do not have dribble more on. But if you've got centre-backs who can, push up a little bit, maybe take the ball at their feet and be okay with it, it is a really big advantage. The DM comes in, again, on tackle harder. We're not going to go over ball with a midfield player. We're going to introduce a deep lying playmaker on support, on tackle harder, and more direct passes. On the right is going to be an inside forward on attack, and also on the left, both the same, on shoot more often, sit narrower, and tackle harder. Again, just that simple change of changing them from support to attack and add and shoot more often means you're going to have a lot more shots at goal, and typically you will score more goals. There's no 100% guarantee, but if you're having decent shots at goal and more of them, you'd like to think so. And both of the advanced forwards do remain exactly the same because they're doing their job already. Doesn't need to be changed. The balanced tiki-taka, just to clarify again, we are going to go all the way down to narrow once again. We're going to pass into the space. We're going to overlap left and overlap right and focus down the right and the left as we were doing. It is still going to be set to shorter. The tempo is going to go all the way up to higher. We are going to run at defence and be more expressive, and we are also going to have them low crosses on. Now, we're not going to waste your time on this page because this is pure opinion. If you've got players who are quite tall up front, I would actually consider going to a target forward or playing it over the opposition defence. If you haven't really got anyone to hit, you simply maintain like we did have the short goal kicks. Out of possession, it is literally exactly the same as the default, so nothing to talk about. Defensively, though, we want a tactic which is going to be very defensive, literally very defensive. So it is going to be a sweeper keeper on defend, a fullback on the right and the left, both on defend and on tackle harder. We have stripped them of any attacking ability, simply do your job and defend. Both of the ball playing defenders remain the same as the default, both on tackle harder. We then introduce an anchor man into the team on more direct passes and tackle harder, a player to sit deep, obviously protect the back four and ping them balls up the field, because that is going to be the idea of this tactic. The DM is also going to be on support on more direct passes and tackle harder. The wingers drop all the way down. This now represents somewhat more of a 4-4-2 than a 4-2-4. The wingers are going to be on support and they are both going to have the same instructions, both on support on cross, aim, target forward, get further forwards, tackle harder and mark tighter. Really focused on getting forwards when they can and hitting the target forward, who is simply going to be on support, on tackle harder, and by default hold up the ball, which is a real key instruction. The advanced forward remains unchanged, simply on attack, on tackle harder. So very defensive mentality, very defensive on the tiki-taka. We're going to go down to narrow. We are going to pass into space. We are still going to have all of this wonderful stuff selected because that is the DNA of the team. It's how the tactic works so well. This remains in the middle. The directness is going to go, of course, up to slightly more direct. We are going to run at defense. And again, you can go here with either low crosses if you're not too confident in your aerial ability, or you can go with mixed crosses. It is entirely individually down to your team. In transition, a little bit different. We're not going to be as focused on applying such an intense press, so this is going to remain blank. We're going to counter, and of course, this time, because we've literally got one, we are going to play to the target forward. And lastly, a bit of change in this. We are still going to have the high press and line, but the defensive line is going to be set to standard. We are going to step up more. We are going to get stuck in. We are still going to prevent, and we are still going to have this maxed out, just to have a little something about us still. We don't want to be too negative, but that is going to complete 3 variants of the ultimate counter, a normal one, an attacking one, and a defensive one. As always, you know I've got you covered. If you have enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Let's try and push for 25k subs, shall we? Let's try and make it happen. You are absolute legends. Much love. I'll see you in the next one.